So here we are, Mass Effect 3. We started the trilogy a little while ago, playing it all the way through with our character, Jernau Shepard. We very recently completed all of Mass Effect 2, including all the DLC, and we're going to do the same here with Mass Effect 3. A lot of things changed from 2 to 3, most notably the inclusion of multiplayer, which I've been playing a bit today just to warm back up and really enjoying it. I was very skeptical of multiplayer initially when they announced it, but it ended up being one of the best things about the game, in my opinion. You'll notice here on the right, there's this Galaxy at War readiness rating. This is going to be important, actually, for the single player. Our ability to get a really good outcome in the single player campaign will depend on some part in this percentage. All right, we're going to collect a bunch of war assets, and whatever value of war assets we get is going to be multiplied by this percentage, and that's the final number that's going to matter. So I will be, as I go through Mass Effect 3, playing a little bit of multiplayer here and there. I'll do some of it on stream for sure. It's very intense. It's very fun. I like it. As a matter of fact, I like it. Even as I was playing it today, I'm thinking this is more fun than Mass Effect Andromeda multiplayer. Anyway, we'll leave that conversation for a different day. For now, let's get it going. Let's first check on our options. Insanity difficulty, level up off, power usage for squad mates off, autosave on, hints on. I think we'll turn that off, I think. I don't know if I want hints. Action items on. We'll keep the action icons on. And graphics wise, one thing we need to make sure, where's the option for subtitles? Is that under sound? No, it doesn't look like that. Where is the option for subtitles? No. Narrative? What does that mean? Conversation mode, full decisions, yes. Subtitle, here we go. Subtitles on. Shepard's helmet will be off in conversation. Squad mate helmets will be by default off. What are the options? I guess we'll keep it the same as Shepard. I don't know what that means though. Like if they're outside in vacuum, I hope they don't take it off for this conversation. That won't make any sense. We'll see how it goes. I might mess with these if it starts to result in silly situations. Alright, cool. I think that's everything that we needed to see before we got started. Let's start a new game. Let's import our ME2 character, who is this person, Jernau Shepard, a colonist. His family was murdered on Mindwar by Batarians. He's a sole survivor. He survived an attack by a Thresher Maw on Akuz, which turned out ultimately to be a Cerberus experiment on the effects of Thresher Maws on human beings. And we have been playing consistently as a soldier throughout this playthrough, this trilogy playthrough, and we'll probably stick with it. Probably. I guess I have to pick a save. We'll pick the latest save. So here's nice. It has a summary of what we've done so far. We saved the Arachnite Queen. We saved Ashley. We saved the Council. We saved Malin's data. That's the data that he experimented on in terms of curing the genophage. Rex is alive. We destroyed the Geth heretics. We destroyed the collector base. We survived the suicide mission with everybody, all 12 of our squad mates alive. We did not romance anyone before or in Mass Effect 2. We've been a very busy Shepard. We haven't had time for romances. But I don't know how I'll feel about any of the available romance options in this game. I don't actually even remember off the top of my head who they are. I mean, Ashley, I guess, will come back. We'll see. I mean, I'm not really thinking about it too much, but probably not, but maybe. So yeah, this is our character. We're going to import him. You've never seen multiplayer in this bunny? I'll be sure to stream it at some point. Maybe even at the end of this stream, whenever we're done, I'll take a half hour and do a mission. It's shocking to me. Well, it's not shocking actually. It's a bit surprising that it's so easy to find matches still so many years later. But it is still possible to find matches in a reasonable amount of time. There's still people out there who are either playing multiplayer for its own sake, or they're playing multiplayer in order to enable a high success rate in their single player campaign. Is this our imported face? I mean, it's our guy. It's actually pretty much what we want, right? I don't know if we're going to customize it any further. This is default chip. Let's see. I think they added more customization options in this game, so let's just do this for now and see if we can't mess with it a little bit. That's weird. It just looks aged. In fairness, Shepard probably would have aged quite a bit over the course of everything that he's gone through. I mean, it's him. It just looks slightly different than he did in Mass Effect 2. Let's start with the eyes. The eye color actually is, I think, lighter than I remember it, and it's throwing me off right off the bat. So let's get the nice. That's almost too dark though. I mean, that color looks almost black on my monitor. I don't want to spend a lot of time here, to be honest with you. This is weird. This is too dark somehow, and this is too light somehow. It's bugging me. It's bugging me. Yeah, Bunny, multiplayer is a 4-player co-op versus AI. It's a horde mode setup in this game. You go through 10 waves of enemies. 3 of those waves will have objectives. 6 of those waves will just be survival waves, kill all the enemies. And the final wave will be an extraction wave. So in principle, you can also just run solo. You don't need anybody else to play multiplayer. And I've done some solo runs myself before. They're, depending on the level of difficulty, they can be a bit tedious, in my opinion. But I've done them. And then there's 4 levels of difficulty, which are bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. Platinum wasn't originally in the game. They added it later because players kind of got too good at gold, so they kicked it up another notch, and I think platinum's a really good challenge. Gold's a good challenge still, in my opinion, but platinum takes it up a level. And then they introduced a bunch of character or enemy types in multiplayer that aren't present in the single player game that are really annoying. Like they made a big deal in multiplayer in terms of introducing enemy types that would do nothing but flush you out of cover. Like that was their entire purpose, is to get you out of cover. Because they saw players, you know, sort of figuring out good strategies, good map strats. Hold this position and just farm enemies as they come in. And they didn't like that. So actually a lot of the balance is different between single player and multiplayer. And I don't remember all the details of how the balance is different, but it can be. I guess Brow is here now. We had this Brow. I don't know why they made... I mean, I guess they improved. I'm tempted to just go with this and not waste any time, to be honest with you. Let's see here. What does this do? No, that's fine the way it was. Like everything just seems okay-ish, and I'm not sure I'm really going to spend time here, but something tells me that I could do something here. It was here, I think. We could rein in the cheeks a bit, I suppose. Eye depth? Are the eyes too deep? Is that okay? I mean, honestly, we're just going to accept the imported face. I'm not going to spend any time on this at all. That's what I decided. I'm not going to obsess over tiny details that don't matter. So let's look at the classes here. As I said earlier, I'm predisposed towards sticking with a soldier, mainly for reasons of consistency. Just because it would be consistent with his character in the previous game. Infiltrator is pretty much the same as Mass Effect 2. You get the cloak, which gives you a gigantic damage boost on your weapon, and that's great. And then in combination with sticky grenades and other weapon tools that you have here, that's really powerful actually. Sabotage is a nice addition to this kit. So Infiltrator is pretty good. Vanguard they fixed. This is really good now. In general, biotics, compared to Mass Effect 2, they fixed. In a different way than you'd expect, or at least that I expected. In this game, biotics have a variety of roles. None of them really are crowd control, in my opinion. The Vanguard actually is a damage dealer, but more importantly, a tank. A well-played Vanguard can be basically a frontline tank that is, if played well and you time all your button presses correctly, you are borderline invincible. So you can just be on the front line, damaging enemies with your biotic powers while close to invulnerable. And when I say close to, because if you mess up your timing, you might have some small windows of vulnerability. And you are still vulnerable to sync kills, wherein certain enemy types can do a synchronized animation with you and kill you no matter what. Right? But other than that, it's just a monster of a class. And in single player more so even than in multiplayer. So that's what Vanguard does. And as for Adept, well, Adept benefits from the new focus that they put in Mass Effect 3 on the combo system. In Mass Effect 2, they introduced combos where if you had an enemy that was lifted off the ground and then you hit him with a warp, it would create a biotic explosion. And they've expanded this system so that there are many, many more ways that you can create a biotic explosion, or indeed a tech explosion, with some of the engineer classes. And being able to use these two powers, warp and then throw, you can use warp as a primer and throw as a detonator. You can just hit those two powers repeatedly, one after the other, and do massive damage, because the damage done by a biotic explosion scales to enemy HP. So even if you have really high HP enemies, you can still get them down in a reasonable timescale. So that's really powerful. So right now, I would say in this game, biotics are damage dealers and tanks. That's what they do. Engineers, the Sentinel class, jack of all trades. It's still got the tech armor, but the tech armor isn't the god mode that it used to be in Mass Effect 1, I don't think. And engineers are great. Again, this is more of a crowd controller class between Overload, which can chain shock people, or Sentry Turret, and Combat Drone, which means you can put two pets basically on the field to distract the enemy. And then Sabotage to hack enemies and do stuff like that. It's just a really good, basically a crowd controlling class. But we're going back to the classic, our soldier. Adrenaline Rush is still here. Concussive Shot is still here. Concussive Shot is potentially a detonator for fire explosion, so I can prime enemies with incendiary ammo and then trigger a fire explosion with Concussive Shot. And Disruptor ammo as well. You can trigger what's called a tech explosion. Or a tech burst. So this will be our strategy, more or less. Grenades don't cost any cooldown anymore, so that's really cool. In terms of a new way of doing things. We can just lob grenades as you normally would. The only limiting factor being our carrying capacity. Ooh. I hadn't thought about this. I had not thought about this. So what are we going to do here? Slam, armor piercing ammo, fortification. Defense matrix, barrier. These things, the reason I don't like any of these bonus powers is because they slow down my power use. I mean, I can probably compensate for that, but I'm not super happy about it. Warp ammo is great, but I mean, I already have ammo powers that I'll probably be using. Stasis is great, but not really what I wanted. We have Reeve. I mean, defense drone. Energy drain, proximity mine. I'm tempted to do, excuse me, like there's a temptation to do marksman, which increases weapon accuracy and fire rate, because I can set that up to work with something like Adrenaline Rush, I think. I don't know if that works. Does that work? I'm not sure. I think what I used in Mass Effect 2 was Flashbang Grenade, because it offered a very unique approach to grenades that wasn't present otherwise in Mass Effect 2. But we already have a grenade, which is the frag grenade, so I don't think we need another grenade. Yeah, I don't think from what I remember, actually, there was something that prevented marksman use with Adrenaline Rush, so we're not going to go with that. Proximity Mine might not be bad, actually, because I believe it has debuff properties. Actually. This isn't bad either, because we can steal power, which is great. You know what? In keeping with our soldier theme, we're going to go with Proximity Mine. There we go. Except, let's begin. Mass Effect 3. The conclusion of the trilogy. Let's go.
How bad is it?
Bad. We just lost contact with 2 of our deep space outposts. There's something massive on the long-range scanners.
Is this what Shepard warned us about?
I'd stake my life on it.
How long do we have?
Not long. I sent word. The fleet's immobilizing.
God help us all.
Indeed. So the Reapers are here, dude. It's been probably, as far as I know, 6 months since the events of Mass Effect 2. In those 6 months, the Reapers, who had previously almost reached the Viper Nebula, have had to work their way from the Viper Nebula to the next Mass Effect relay, because we blew up the Mass Effect relay at the Viper Nebula in the Arrival DLC. So we bought a few months. That's what we did. Let's see how our Shepard looks. He's passable. We'll accept it.